All right, so now we're going to move to profit. Very rarely do people that are solopreneurs or just starting out, do they really focus on the profitability of their business. I can tell you, having done this for a very long time, coached a lot of people, high-level CEOs, a lot of people trying to become CEOs, it's very, very rare that somebody even comes in and knows how to read a financial statement, a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, a cash flow statement, what it actually means, how it should change their behavior, how it should change their decision-making process. If that's you, I don't want you to take that as a strike against you. That's just the norm. But if you want to get to the next level, you certainly have to understand how to create more profitability inside of your organization. What are you making on each customer? What are you making on each transaction? What is the value, the lifetime value of every client that comes into your business? I'll give you an example. One of the businesses that we own, we know that when we acquire a buyer and they transact with us, the moment they do their very first transaction with us, we know that that transaction on average, we make $23,000. But we also know on average, they transact 2.5 times with us at that same level. Let's just call it 2 for simple math. 2 times in their first 12 months. So the cost of acquiring that customer, we get paid twice. We spend money to acquire the customer, but we know they're going to buy at least 2 houses from us. So it's $23,000 times 2 in the first 12 months. We know on average, they will stay with us for 4 years minimum. So it's $46,000 times 4. So now we're up to, $172,000. But we also know that for every 4 of those customers that we acquire, they will refer 1 in that will do the exact same thing. So it's $172,000 plus another 25%, which is another 46 grand. So that customer to us is really worth about $215,000. When I know that, and I know most of my clients don't, it might look foolish for me to invest heavily into marketing to go acquire customers, but it only looks foolish to the naive. I know what a client is worth to me. Therefore, I get to play a different game. And he or she who can afford to pay the most to acquire a customer always wins. Always wins. Going back to my Amazon example earlier, Amazon loses money, loses a great deal of money, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and not billions of dollars to put that Amazon Echo in your home, to connect your home. All the devices that are in your home, they lose money on that equipment. Now, why would they do that? Because what has happened is they understand the value of the customer. They know a client spends $8,000 to $20,000. If they can get them to transact, if they can make it easier. So losing a few $100s on a device is immaterial to them. It's a cost of acquisition of the client. They get to pay more for the customer. That's why they're one of the most successful businesses in the world today. It's because they understand exactly what I'm telling you that you should understand about your business. How do you know exactly what the profitability of a customer is, of every transaction is, of every home you flip, of every deal you do? What are the patterns that you can see, that you can predict and exploit inside of your business? With that, then it goes to step 2. How can you maximize the lifetime value of a customer? It's called LTV. How do I look at a customer and understand all of the other transactions that my transaction creates? Very prevalent in real estate. Some of you, you're just flipping properties today. You're not appreciating the simple fact that your one transaction creates a dozen more transactions right behind it. The moment you transact and you go to do a deal, a title company gets involved, an appraiser gets involved, an insurance company gets involved, a mortgage lender gets involved, right? A closing attorney gets involved, a moving company. There's all these other transactions that are all just a byproduct of your transaction. My question for you is, how do you get a piece of all of those? Because if you get a piece of all of those other transactions that you created, by the way, you're not changing anything that they were going to do all these things because of your transaction anyway. If you can get a piece of all of those transactions, you're extending the value of the client to you. Here's a very real example of this. If you're wholesaling properties today, here is a way to actually double the profitability of your deal without changing one thing. Double what you make on a wholesale transaction without spending $1 more in marketing or asking the customer to do one more thing or anything weird that they weren't already going to do. Most wholesalers are flipping properties to fix and flippers, about 75%. Most of those fix and flippers are then borrowing money from a hard money lender or a private lender, about 90%. If both of those things are true, then when I flip a deal to somebody and I'm making a $20,000 wholesale fee, and let's just for way of example say, in order to buy that deal, they have to borrow 200 grand from a hard money lender. You should immediately make it a condition of them buying that property from you that they have to borrow the actual money from you also. Now, before you get too sidetracked, some of you are like, man, Ken, I don't have $200,000 to loan out. Well, go cut a deal with the hard money lender and say that I want to do a deal with you, that I will make it that every deal I flip to a fix and flipper, I will make it where they have to borrow the money from you. And then from that, you're going to pay me. So here's what it looks like. like. I flipped you a house for 20 grand. You're gonna go borrow 200 grand. I tell you, no, you have to borrow the 200 grand from me. Well, that 200 grand at 2 and 12 is 14%. So on a year, that's approximately, simple math, $28,000 in interest. The average deal probably sits out there for 90 days. So it's about 20 grand. So I flipped you the deal and made a $20,000 profit, but then I made you borrow the money from me and I got a $20,000 interest payment as well. Nothing changed in the deal. Your fix and flipper was going to borrow the money anyway. All I did, in fact, you just tell the fix and flipper, whatever your terms are with your hard money lender, send it to me in writing and I'll match it. Because it isn't about that. I just want the income stream. If it's 2 and 12, if it's 1 and 10, whatever it is, I just don't want that money to leave my ecosystem. I want to maximize profits here. Why should somebody else get paid on my deal? If I have the ability to bring that revenue and bring that income, I'm taking a $20,000 transaction and I'm turning it into a $40,000 transaction without changing anything. What's the money you're letting slip through your fingers? You should write every single thing down. You should know as a CEO what is every single profit center, every transaction that happens after your transaction right now. And you should immediately start trying to figure out how to get a piece, if not all, of every one of those transactions, whether that is in referral fees, whether that is in joint ventures, or whether it's just solely a business unit that you own. When you do that, you are maximizing the value of the client, which then goes back to my other point, allows you to spend more, invest more to acquire the client. When you understand how to maximize profitability, you're playing a completely different game, because one thing I can absolutely tell you is true is you can count on your competition's mediocrity. Most of the people in this industry do not know how to run a business. You tweak a few things that we've already covered. We're on number 4 of the P's here, right? You tweak a few things and you put yourself in an entirely different league very, very quickly.